Hey, welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of our YouTube program, Sports In and Out. And this is our EPL edition for the week, Match Day 36. A lot went down this week, so I'll be asking, what do you think about this week in particular, Match Day 36? What do you think? This week in particular, a lot of losses. Chelsea lost. Manchester United. Goals. Manchester United lost two as well. Arsenal had a very dramatic comeback from 2-0 over Liverpool, from 2-0 to 2-2, and everybody saw that game. The whole first half was for Liverpool, then the second half was for Arsenal. So this week was exciting, but just disappointing for being a Manchester United fan as usual. And for other teams that actually won, it was actually, let's just say, it was a win that we expected. So I don't see anything wrong in this week's fixtures. What do you think about this week? Yeah, for me, before I move into telling everyone about the scores, the results of the match day 36, for me the week was actually, like you said, Manchester United lost, and it just kept on increasing the fact that we are not good in the EPL. Yes. But maybe we are good in the European competition, but the EPL were not just good at that. And also we also saw Manchester City um, that are looking for points to even secure their position for the Champions League. They drew against a relegated Southampton. I'm showing us that Manchester City are not just good enough once again. So and Erling Haaland was back this game. He's back from his injury, and we could not even see him score a goal. That game ended goalless. So I'll be telling you the score lines for the games. So on so for the games, Southampton held Manchester City on a 0-0 draw. Everton defeated Fulham. That game ended 3-1. Um, Wolves were defeated by Brighton. That game ended 2-0 in favor of Brighton. Yes. Brentford defeated Ipswich. That game ended 1-0. Aston Villa, with a red card, defeated Bournemouth, that Manchester United failed to beat. I think that game ended 1-0. And Newcastle defeated Chelsea. I really love that. Nicholas Jackson had a red card in that game. That game ended 2-0. West Ham defeated Manchester United. We all saw that coming, and that game ended 2-0 in favor of West Ham. And Nottingham Forest held Leicester City on a 2-2 draw. Nottingham Forest that are looking for a Champions League position for the first time in a couple of years, and now they've secured Europe, but to secure Champions League is now looking like a problem. I think that's going to be one of our big topics. But before you move on, I saw a comment from one of Chelsea fans saying that Nicholas Jackson has more cards than goals in the year 2025. I saw that as being funny. Yes, very hilarious. Very also, hilarious. It's coming from a Chelsea fan. Crystal Palace defeated Tottenham. Manchester United are always happy whenever we lose, and Tottenham as well lose. That game ended 2-0 in favor of Crystal Palace. And the game that you also talked about, which is Liverpool, that were held on a 2-2 draw with Arsenal. That game ended 2-2. And for me to buttress on that game, I will actually say that Liverpool have been dropping points since they were given that trophy. So so I'll be giving you the rundown of um the next fixtures, and we'll be starting with two match of the week. There are two match of the week that we'll be focusing on this week, and that's the game on Friday, May 16th, 2025. Aston Villa will be hosting Tottenham Hotspur, and Chelsea will be taking on Manchester United. Two big games on the same day. Yeah, are you going to give us the rundown of all? We should just quickly talk about these two games. I think we should just touch those two games that will be played on the 16th, That's
Yes.
Friday, 16th of May 2025. What are your predictions for those games?
Yes, we have to tell everyone the reason why those games are being played on Friday is because of Manchester United and
Yes,
Tottenham are in a very tough
yes,
encounter going to Bilbao for the Europa League
finals.
finals.
Yes,
That's an all English finals, the London club versus the Manchester club. So that's going to be a game to watch.
we're looking forward to that.
Yes,
That's on Wednesday.
yes, on
Yes,
Wednesday, 21st
yes,
of May. If there's any viewing center close to you, just
just
go
go
and watch
watch.
that game. And so for the game between Aston Villa versus Tottenham, Aston Villa are looking towards climbing to the top of the Champions League spots. Maybe still a position from maybe we can say maybe a still a position from a Man City maybe.
Yes,
And
maybe.
so we can actually see that if they win that game against Tottenham, Tottenham is not really a team that has been performing in the Premier League just like Manchester United this season. And I'm actually going to give Aston Villa the win because Aston Villa are home and we know how they play at home. We know the new players that they inserted into their game and how the game has changed. For Chelsea versus Manchester United, Manchester United are not going to be playing all their cards. Chelsea as well will not be playing all their cards because Chelsea they can actually play all their cards because their own finals is actually still far off a little bit. But I don't think they will be playing senior men versus who Manchester United will be fielding on that day. And I don't think Manchester United should field players that are really game changers for our Europa League tie. That like players like Bruno should not feature.
Yes,
Players like
Onana should
Maguire
not
should not
feature.
feature. Casemiro should not feature.
Kobe
Onana should
Mino.
not feature. Some players that are very important to us should not feature in that
Amad
game.
Diallo.
Ahmad Diallo should not
Yes,
feature. Mino should not feature in that game. Maybe they can come in as and play some
subs.
cameos
Yes.
and sub. But I don't think they should start that
Yeah,
game.
for me,
That's for
Aston
Chelsea.
Villa versus Tottenham Hotspur. That game should be in favor of Aston Villa because Aston Villa has are the ones playing for the Champions League slot, and I think Aston Villa has actually done well in actually pursuing that that momentum on actually getting that Champions League slot, probably knocking off. This time we have six teams actually going to the
Champions League.
Champions League. So no team wants to fall behind because anything can happen. If Manchester United or Tottenham Hotspur clinch that sixth spot, one team is definitely not going to Europe among the first seven teams on the table. So so for the Chelsea game, I'll see Chelsea will put their best foot forward, but Manchester United, we really don't need that game.
Yes.
I don't see us actually putting all our players, even in Tottenham's game as well. Tottenham will not put their best players on the pitch on that day. So it's because everybody wants to win a trophy in Europe.
Yes.
So I think that's that match that match of the day is two fixtures that everybody needs to look into. But for either club, that's for either Tottenham Hotspur or Manchester
Manchester
United,
United.
it's not really needed for any of those
Yeah,
teams.
quick question. Who do you think the pressure falls on for to win the Champions League, to win the Europa League? Man-
Manchester United.
Manchester United.
The reason why I said Manchester United is because Ruben Amorim just came to the club and he has a lot to prove. It's just like when Eric Ten Hag came to Manchester United. Manchester United were lacking trophies, and Eric Ten Hag came, gave Manchester United
Food.
Carabao Cup. Then
Yes.
the next year
FA
the
Cup.
FA Cup, but this year um, being unbeaten, so that pressure is on Manchester United to actually finish that campaign unbeaten.
Yes.
So I'll just love for Manchester United to
Finish the
actually
season.
finish the
Yes.
season with that one trophy. That's the Europa.
Yeah, I will also agree with you that the pressure is on Manchester United as well. But for Tottenham and Postecoglou, this is the only reason why he has not lost his job for Tottenham.
Yes.
If not, he would have lost his job probably. Uh, for me, He has been saying like he has some injury excuses. I don't think what they call it. Tottenham has two teams, just like as Manchester United don't. We don't really have
Yes.
two solid teams. We just have one team that we can just use to just maintain the game. But for Manchester United, I would say more pressure is on you. Try to defend very well. Try to attack, score goals early, and maybe it might end in favor for Manchester United.
Yeah, so let me give the remaining fixtures. Everton will be taking on Southampton on the 16th. That's
On the
on
18th
the
of May,
18th, rather. That's Sunday,
on
18th of May
on
2025.
Saturday. Okay, Sunday rather.
Sunday.
Sorry,
Yeah, so all the remaining games will be played on Sunday. That's Everton will be taking on Southampton. West Ham will take on Nottingham Forest. Brentford will take on Fulham. Leicester City will be taking on Ipswich. Arsenal will be taking on Newcastle. And on Monday, 19th of May 2025, Brighton will be taking on
Liverpool.
Liverpool. On Tuesday, the 20th of May, Crystal Palace will be taking on Wolves. And Manchester City will be taking on Beaumont also on Tuesday, 20th of May,
Yeah,
2025. What do you think about the game between Arsenal and Newcastle?
the game between Arsenal and Newcastle. For that game, I'm expecting Newcastle to take the win.
Yes, okay.
Because Arsenal, if Arsenal does not even win this particular game, they have another chance of getting to the Champions League.
Yes.
They just need 3 points, I think.
Yeah.
So
So
they
it's down to the wire, the last
is
game.
down to the last
Yeah.
game. So I believe Newcastle needs 6 points or 4, or they need a lot more uh than what
But
Arsenal
I
needs.
guess a draw will actually seal their position if they draw if they have a draw and Nottingham Forest have a loss. I think it will give Newcastle an
Yeah,
edge.
like I'm seeing here, Arsenal are on 68 points, Newcastle are on 66 points, and Manchester City 65, Chelsea 63. So that particular Europe is still very much open.
Yes,
Most especially the Champions League slot is very much open
for
to everyone.
everybody. Yeah.
So for the game between Arsenal and Newcastle, Arsenal, let's just say that game can end as a draw. But players that I know that will score on that day, I'm
Isiak,
going to be counting on Isaac, and I'm
Saka,
going to be counting on probably maybe Saka or Odegaard.
Merino.
Odegaard might actually just come
Merino, I see
come
Merino
up.
actually getting a goal as well.
Yes, in this particular time, but
Yes.
that game, win or draw, Newcastle.
All right. So also one other game that is standing out is the game between Nottingham Forest and West Ham. Given
Uh,
the fact that West Ham has nothing to play for
and
and
it's
not
all to play
all to
for
play for
Nottingham
Nottingham
Forest.
Forest, what do you think about?
Yeah, for the game, Nottingham Forest are away.
Yes.
This is not like the NPFL where you can't pick up a point or win away. But I think that was one of our hot topics. We're going to talk about
Yes.
that particular situation of Nottingham Forest. But for that game in particular, me speaking about the game, I'll be giving the game to Nottingham Forest because they have it all to play for.
Yeah, so Nottingham Forest has it all to play because when you see the team, I think Nuno Santos won't want to lose any game, even given the fact that during their last Premier League game, the manager actually had to come to the pitch after the game. But I think that has been
Clarify the owner,
clarified.
the owner.
The owner of Nottingham Forest had to come to the pitch to actually say a few words to
Nuno
Nuno
Santos.
Santos, but it has actually been clarified that
It wasn't a fight.
a fight. It
It
was
was
just
just
him
a
talking
little.
about the campaign.
Yeah.
As
So
all right,
I wanted to say something about
okay,
how the league has been. One of our episodes, we came here and Nuno Santo just won the coach of the month,
yes,
and we were all on praises for him. We're praising him.
yes,
Saying things that he was even going to be qualified for for the coach of the year of the season,
Yes.
because of what he did for the Nottingham Forest club, where Nottingham Forest were nothing, and he brought them into the conversation of Champions League and maybe
Yes.
Europe.
Yes.
But now that he has sealed Europe, yes. But what what's going on? What do you think is going on with Nottingham Forest, and do you think they're even going to make it to the Champions League?
Yeah, for me, Nottingham Forest, I think they have just one job to do to qualify for the Champions League. Having a terrific season, playing very good football, having the likes of Olaino and Taiwo
Elanga,
Awoniyi,
Elanga,
Elanga,
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood in that squad. I'm seeing Nottingham Forest actually qualifying for the Champions League. Simply because the pressure is on them, and we all know when teams have this pressure on them, they actually tend to play better with that pressure. It's
Yes.
just like the way Manchester United had the pressure and had the pressure last season, whereby we were on we were on eight we were on a position whereby we couldn't even qualify for the Europa League, and we had to actually play very well in the FA Cup to win the
Yeah,
FA
but
Cup.
their next two matches are against West Ham and Chelsea.
West Ham is a win.
It should be a win.
It always should be a win. West Ham is a win. But for
West Ham defeated Manchester United, so we can't just write them off and say West Ham is a win. West Ham should be a win, is what you should say.
okay,
Because
all right, West Ham should actually be a win, but because that I think if they win this tie, I think it will give them a brighter way to actually win the next game. And coming to look at the Chelsea game, Chelsea has them on the last day of the Premier League, and Chelsea has the finals of the Europa Conference League, which they are going to be playing with Betis. So that means they won't
they
be
have
playing.
to rest some
They have to
players
rest a lot of players
for the final.
for the final. So and how many match bans does Nicholas Jackson have with the red card? I think is it one game ban?
No, that even helps them because it's not even going to just going to be playing straight in the
Straight okay
in
into the Europa Conference League. All right, so that's actually good. But what do you still think about the season for Nottingham Forest?
For Nottingham Forest, actually, for me, I never expected them to do this good.
Yeah.
So I would actually clap for Nuno Santos and say that he has done a very good job
Yes.
so far, making the team from a team that was battling relegation,
Yes.
that just got promoted last season, and were even battling relegation last season, just got up, and now they are in the European conversation. And I don't think the manager should even the owner should even be shouting
angry.
or angry at them because he has tried his best.
But even looking at the number of clean sheets they have, their keeper is actually
yes.
still the current clean sheet holder,
yes.
and we see them. Even with their keeper winning that is an achievement for the team. Putting them in the conversation. Nuno Santo has actually won the Premier League coach of the month several occasions, and if not one or two times.
Yes.
So we are seeing the improvement in teams that were not even in conversation of Europe last season. Now being in that conversation. So
kudos to them.
Kudos to Nottingham Forest. Kudos to Nuno Santos. Kudos to the ownership, the players, the team. So I would say it's a bad season. I'll just say the clubs that they are actually playing this during the end of the season are putting more pressure on them. And yes, it's kind of being a tough nut to crack.
We can actually attribute it to they put their foot off the gas.
Yes.
So they were at the driver's seat. They were having a good speed, but they put their foot off the gas.
I also think that's also a way to actually show you that the big boys are not sleeping. The big boys like Chelsea, the big boys like Manchester United. I know, yes, Manchester United has had a poor season. We don't have 40 points this season. We're on 39 points.
And we don't even know if Manchester United is going to even get up to 40
points. So if we lose our remaining two games, we are not getting to 40 points, and it's a very, very, very poor season. But Manchester United is not the only team that is doing that bad. But the only thing Manchester United actually has that is in favor for them is the fact that some other teams are actually playing poor for them to stay in the league. So Manchester United are actually doing teams are actually playing in favor of Manchester
Manchester United.
United.
Yes.
Do you have any other thing? What do you think about? Is there anything changes? What do you think about the EPL, VAR decisions, all
Yeah,
those?
for the EPL is the most improved league
Yes,
in the world. It's number one in Europe, and meaning that if a club can be number one, if a competition
can
rather
be number
can be
one.
number one in Europe, it means that it's number one in the whole world.
Yes,
So we can actually say that EPL is one of the most watched as well
yes.
all around the world. It's a league that has fans in every part of the world, of the continent.
And
So
will you say that Nigeria has the most populated fan base for the EPL? Will you say that?
yes, probably we can, because we see them, we see p- uh, uh, people coming to this country to get views. Like we've seen the likes of am I allowed to call names of brands? But we've seen brands come
Right. Yes.
to Nigeria to come and advertise their product through using the love of football, and we know how we love football in this
Even
particular
even
country.
our one of our sponsored partners, one expert,
Yes,
is actually a big
very active
example that you say that are actually very active and very involved in
in the
in,
EPL.
in EPL and football in general.
Yes,
So that's one thing you just look at, that Nigeria has actually influenced. We have the likes of Davido being a brand
that's all.
ambassador for one expert, and we are seeing
All the major
all the
influencers
major influencers
are ambassadors for one
ambassadors for one
expert.
expert. So you see that sense of belonging. Everybody wants to.
Even sporting announce
Yes,
is part of the partners of one expert. So you can
yes.
actually say that football has grown,
Football
sport
has
has
grown.
grown,
Yes,
and one expert is growing. So you can actually bet on one expert
expert
using
get up to three
not
hundred
just
percent
percent bonus
bonus
on your first deposit.
using our promo
Promo
code
code
Sporting
Sporting
Announce,
Announce,
SPORTINANDOUT Sporting
Sporting
Announce,
Announce.
and please bet responsibly.
Possibly,
If
if
you
you are
don't have the mind to actually bet, don't bet.
bets, yes. If you are
It's
not up to 18,
18.
please
Please don't
don't
bet.
bet.
This is an 18 plus
Plus
ad.
ad.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode. We want to say a very big thank you to all our fan base,
Yes,
everybody that has put in the hand to
yes.
actually support
Shout out to you guys.
Sporting Announce. Shout out to you guys.
God
Thank you guys
bless you.
for watching. Please like,
Like,
share,
share,
and
and
subscribe.
subscribe.